Welcome back, and today I'm going to talk about the PS5 price and all the details we got today. So Sony finally released the launch date and the price for the PS5. It's going to cost $500 for the disc drive version and $400 for the all digital version. Pre-order starts in November 12th and November 19th for the rest of the world. So Sony is pricing their console exactly like Microsoft is pricing. Remember, Microsoft priced the Xbox Series X at $500, and Microsoft priced their lower performance, lower power one. That's what people don't know about the cheaper one. It's a lot less powerful. So they priced a lot less powerful one for $300. So surprisingly, Sony is a really good spot this generation again, because remember, last generation Sony beat Microsoft because Sony's PS4 cost $100 less. Sony PS4 launched at $400 last generation, while the Xbox One launched at $500 last generation, and it came with the Kinetic that no one wanted. That's where the extra $100 on the Xbox was for the Kinetic. And then the Xbox removed the Kinetic, reduced the price to $400, and then they started selling the Xboxes last generation. So this generation, I think Sony's still going to kill it because Sony has the full power PS5 for $100 less, but you don't get a disc drive. That is a huge selling point because you don't get that from Microsoft. For a $300 console, you get something weaker. PlayStation, you just get a console without a disc drive. So this is very important that a lot of people are not noticing. What I'm thinking right now is the PS5 is going to run at 4K. The Xbox Series X is going to run at 4K, but the Xbox Series S is only going to do 1080p. So the Xbox Series S is not even included in this discussion. I don't understand why people even talk about that console because it's weaker than the PS4 Pro and it's weaker than the Xbox One X. The big deal about the Xbox Series S is that it's affordable. That's it. But it's affordable, but you're not getting the next gen experience. That's a problem with it. The Xbox Series S is basically an Xbox One X rebranded for cheaper. And that's why I think Microsoft again is going to fail this generation because they're going to confuse the customer. The customer's not going to know all this detail that the Xbox One S is a lot less powerful than the Xbox One X. They're just going to buy the cheapest one and hope for the best. They're not going to know that they're going to buy that one, and it's going to be basically the same thing as the console they already own at home, which is the Xbox One X. Unless Microsoft does a really good job with the Xbox Series S marketing, it could potentially really hurt their sales for the Xbox Series X because no one's going to buy that. People always buy the cheapest one. The reason why the PS4 outsold the Xbox One is because it was $100 cheaper. And what do we have here again, guys? PS4 PlayStation is $100 cheaper than Microsoft again. The $100 cheaper version is the disc-free version. You don't get like a weaker PlayStation. It's the same one without a disc drive. It doesn't confuse the customers. The customers are going to get so confused on buying the Xbox One X or the Xbox One S because they don't know anything. People don't know the hardware of the consoles. Barely anyone knows what hardware goes in the consoles. Like, I know it because I look into it. So I'll tell you the performance. Okay, so we have the performance on the the Xbox Series X. The performance is 12 teraflops. The PS5 is doing about 10 teraflops. So the Xbox One X is roughly about 20% faster than the PS5. That being said, see, consumers don't know this, and consumers don't really care about this. They care about the price. And Microsoft is really hurting themselves again, selling two different consoles at two different prices, while Sony is selling the same console at two different prices. One is cheaper because you have no disc drive. Sony is doing such a good job in marketing here. It's very easy, very simple to understand. So here are the sales numbers. The PS4 sold 110 million copies. The Xbox One sold 50 million copies. To give you an idea, the Nintendo Switch, which released 4 years after the Xbox One, sold 62 million. So sold 12 million more copies than the Xbox One. So it's not the release time, it's the price. And the fact that Microsoft lost so much traction at the launch, because it took Microsoft like I think almost 2 years to reduce the console to $400 to match Sony's $400 PS4 price. So Microsoft needs to do a really good job marketing the Xbox One S as a 1080p and affordable Xbox One X like alternative. They can't market this as the next gen, because right now it's called the PS5 because it's the fifth PlayStation. This is going to be the fourth Xbox, but they're screwing up with their names. Their names are really hurting Microsoft. I really think their namings are going to really bite them this generation again. This is also worth noting because last generation, the Xbox One was slightly less powerful than the PS4. But the consumers didn't know that. The consumer didn't know that, and they really didn't care that much about the performance difference, and the Xbox One was slightly less powerful than the PS4. That wasn't a selling point. The selling point was the price point. And again, this became apparent when Microsoft released the Xbox One X, which was a good bit more powerful than the PS4 Pro. The PS4 Pro having 4.2 teraflops and the Xbox One X having 6 teraflops. So the Xbox One X is like 40% more powerful than the PS4 Pro, and their price exactly the same. The Xbox One X being that much more powerful than the PS4 Pro did not guarantee any sales. What I feel like what drives console sales is, one, price and what's very popular. The reason why the PlayStation continued selling is because everyone's friends had PlayStations, and if you wanted to play with your friend, you had to buy a PlayStation. So what do you guys think about this generation? I think this generation, Microsoft's going to lose again, and they're going to lose pretty bad, because I think the traction that Sony got from the PlayStation 4, they just built such a huge community that Microsoft has no chance of catching up. I believe Sony's going to completely outsell Microsoft, mainly because Sony, again, is $100 cheaper than Xbox. The same thing is happening again. This is what killed Microsoft last generation, the $100 price difference, and I believe it's going to kill them again. What are you guys' thoughts on this? If you guys were going to purchase an Xbox, were you going to purchase an Xbox X or an Xbox S? Is the naming confusing to you? Is the price confusing to you? And that's pretty much it for this video. Make sure you leave a like on the video, subscribe if you're new. Thanks for watching, and I am out.